If you could maybe throw out 3 teams that you trust to maybe make a deep run into March, what would those 3 teams be?
Houston, Auburn, and Tennessee, who I just mentioned. I think Auburn really for obvious reasons. Again, I think Auburn is a consensus 1 or 2 across the board. But the team that I personally think is consensus 1 or 2 as well is going to be Houston. I really like the body of work there. I like the style. Again, defense travels well to neutral sites. I think that group just has enough experience. I think they're a very good team. And then Tennessee, they get beat up in terms of playing that difficult SEC schedule. But again, defense, they make their free throws. They can play a game in the 50s. They can play a game in the 70s. How about Houston, Auburn, and Tennessee?
All right, Tom, you agree with most of that, but you're subtracting 1 and adding another. Who are your top 3 teams heading into March?
Yeah, listen, for me, it's got to be Auburn, Houston, and Duke. Mike mentioned Houston. They've lost 1 game since the end of November. It was a overtime game by 1 point, and they have a chance for revenge tonight. I mean, they're a really good team. Auburn won 2 games without arguably the best player in the country. So they've shown me that they can win. And the thing about Duke is this. Listen, we know the ACC isn't that good, but they beat Auburn at home. They just went to a neutral court and they just smashed Illinois. These 3 teams are going to be 1 seeds, and I'll be surprised if 2 of them, without seeing the seedings, 2 of them don't reach the Final Four. I think it's that kind of year. I think these 3 teams are really complete, and you're going to have to really play a great game to get them out of the tournament in March.
Speaking of Houston, we'll be talking Houston, Texas Tech, along with some of the other big Monday night games later on in this show with our best bets. EK, 3 teams you trust heading into March.
Yeah, I sort of looked at this as trust being the key word here, not necessarily trusting to be great. I think Auburn is a half a head taller than everybody else. I don't trust Duke as much as I trust Auburn, so I put Auburn number 1. I trust that Alabama is going to play one style only, and try to get it through 6 games that way, right? They're not going to compromise. They're not going to slow down. I trust that they will do everything they could, all gas, no brakes. And then I trust Yale. And you say, well, what do you have Yale on the list for? Look, sometimes stereotypes are true. And the Yale stereotype of smart, patient, deliberate kids who are not going to get rattled and who you don't want to see is right there with Yale. Coach Jones and Yale, they have, I believe it's now with the loss over the weekend, they might have the longest winning streak in the country. Now, they're not going to win the national championship. That's not what I'm saying. But you are not going to get them to leave their character. And I trust that they will be a very tough out, playing very disciplined. And if you're not disciplined, they're going to upset you like they did Auburn last year.